Imagine yourself as a tourist across the pond in our lovely United Kingdom, stepping into the quaint town of Johnstone in central western Scotland, where among the echoes of local life you come across the remaining structure of one Johnstone Castle. Without a doubt, you'd admire its details that whisper tales of a grand past, its lovely smooth stone carvings and the rope-styled string course trimming its exterior. Even more intriguingly, you'd learn of its connection to the renowned Polish composer Frederic Chopin, who once graced its halls. But look closer, because this isn't just any castle ruin. This fortress of stone and story is a crucial chapter in the saga of none other than the Houston family of Texas, whose lineage would stretch all the way to the American frontier and culminate in the founding of a city that shares their name, Houston. Yes, at Johnstone Castle, all the way in Scotland, you'd be standing at one of the first known pieces of evidence of a family whose descendants would play a pivotal role in shaping Texan, and indeed, American history. In today's episode, we'll tell the full chronicle of the Houston family from the foggy Lowlands of Scotland, across the windswept waves of the Atlantic, all the way to the legendary creation of the great state of Texas itself, as we describe the Houstons, the family that built Texas. To unravel the origins of the Houston family and its pivotal role in shaping Texas, we must start with a tale that stretches back centuries, even before America's establishment. This journey across time begins in England amid the Wars of the Three Kingdoms, a tumultuous series of battles across England, Scotland and Ireland from 1639 to 1651. During this era of strife, the Houston family, along with many other Scottish Presbyterians, left Scotland for Ulster in Ireland as part of the Great Migration that occurred between 1640 and 1670, a movement which grew into what is called the Ulster Plantation, a region and period marked by significant cultural and demographic change. Indeed, this era laid the groundwork for what would be this group's profound influence on US leadership with Ulster Scots, or Scots-Irish peoples as they are more commonly called in America, fielding several presidents, including Andrew Jackson, James Buchanan, and Ulysses S. Grant, among others, and tracing their lineage back to these resilient immigrants. However, with regard to the Houston family of Texas, ancestor Sir John Houston first built the aforementioned castle near Johnstone in Renfrewshire, Scotland. Furthermore, the Houston name itself, derived from Hughes Town, a nod to Sir Hugh de Paduinan, an ancestor who gained royal favour by saving the life of King Malcolm of Scotland, would eventually become so consequential in the Highlands that it is now immortalised in the name of a Scottish village to this very day, Houston, Scotland, spelled the exact same way as Houston, Texas. Yet, our narrative of the American Houston lineage first sets off with the immigration of another John Houston to the United States, whose great-grandson would be Sam Houston of Texas fame. In the 1730s, John Houston's family braved the Atlantic, carrying gold sovereigns, a rarity among immigrants, which nearly fell into the hands of conspiring shipmasters. After a dramatic mid-ocean takeover, they safely landed in Philadelphia before traveling down the Great Wagon Road through the Shenandoah Valley to what is now Rockbridge County, Virginia. Here, Sam Houston's forebear built a fort, a grammar school, and the Old Providence Church, cementing the family's roots in American soil. Now, Sam Houston himself was born in Virginia in 1793, entering a world still on the edges of the American frontier, and his youth was marked by a free-spirited nature and an aversion to conventional schooling, despite his voracious reading from his father's library. The classics, from Virgil to contemporary authors, shaped his early thoughts and ideals, and at 16, Sam Houston left his family to live with a Cherokee tribe on Hiwassee Island, where he forged a lifelong bond with Chief John Jolly and earned the nickname Raven. Indeed, this experience profoundly influenced his views on Native American culture and spirituality, and led to a life filled with connections to the natives of his new land. Soon, however, as the drums of the War of 1812 thundered across the fledgling United States, Sam Houston enlisted in the army, stepping into a conflict that would further shape his future and that of America. And his military prowess didn't go unnoticed, and he quickly found favor with Thomas Hart Benton, commander of the 39th Infantry Regiment. By the end of 1813, Houston had climbed the ranks to third lieutenant and soon found himself under the command of General Andrew Jackson during the Creek War. In this conflict, he was severely wounded at the Battle of Horseshoe Bend, a wound so grave that his survival seemed miraculous. Post-war, while many officers were dismissed as the army downsized, Houston retained his commission, even achieving a promotion, and his military career continued to intertwine with his growing political aspirations. By 1817, Andrew Jackson appointed him as a sub-agent for Cherokee removal in East Tennessee. These policies aimed to relocate Native American tribes from their ancestral lands to territories west of the Mississippi River, often through coercive treaties and force. And despite his official role in facilitating these removals, Houston developed a profound affinity for Cherokee culture. For example, Houston's penchant for embracing Cherokee culture became evident in February 1818, when he donned Native American attire at a formal meeting, much to the chagrin of notorious Secretary of War John C. Calhoun. This act not only sparked a reprimand, but also ignited a lasting enmity with Calhoun. Disillusioned, Houston resigned from the army in 1818, yet continued his liaison work with the Cherokee, assisting their relocation to Arkansas Territory. However, Houston's political ambitions soared alongside his mentor, Andrew Jackson. His unopposed election to Congress in 1823 through Jackson's influence marked his entrance into national politics, and riding on the coattails of Jackson's 1824 presidential campaign, Houston's political clout peaked with his election as governor of Tennessee in 1827. But Sam Houston's life took a dramatic turn in 1829 when his marriage to Eliza Allen abruptly ended, leading him to resign as Tennessee's governor and rejoin the Cherokee in the Arkansas Territory. Reunited with Chief John Jolly's group, Houston became a vital mediator between the Cherokee and the federal government. However, more controversy followed when in 1832, after returning to Washington, Congressman William Stanbury accused him of fraudulent dealings in a supply bid, leading to a notorious public altercation. Surprisingly, Sam Houston literally beat Stanbury with a cane for ignoring his correspondence, an incident that led to Houston's trial and conviction by the House of Representatives, resulting in a formal reprimand and a $500 fine. At this point in our story, Sam Houston was stuck in political exile, a mentality split between political ambition and profound concern for his Native American compatriots, and a confusion about what would happen next in his freewheeling life and career. Sam Houston's journey took a decisive turn with the onset of the Texas Revolution, a significant event in the unfolding of American history. You see, as Mexico's President Antonio López de Santa Anna centralized power and dismissed the Constitution of 1824, a wave of unrest swept through its territories. This move stoked tensions perceived as a severe infringement on the freedoms enjoyed by Texian and Tejano settlers who valued their independence. The dissatisfaction was fueled further by a mix of cultural and linguistic divides, economically stifling policies, and a ban on further American immigration, a rule brazenly ignored by many Texians. In the thick of these tensions stood Sam Houston, a figure of notable stature with a backstory of governance and leadership in Tennessee. Thus, before venturing to Texas in 1832, driven by motives that add layers to his storied life, Houston had already demonstrated his leadership mettle and had established deep ties with the Cherokee tribe. Once in Texas, Houston's military acumen and leadership qualities swiftly elevated him to a leadership role in the burgeoning independence movement. His dedication to the Texian cause saw him rise to the position of Commander-in-Chief of the Texian Army. But in October 1835, a modest cannon at Gonzales, Texas, sparked a profound upheaval. Texians, local residents, stood their ground against Mexican forces who came to reclaim the cannon. Displaying a defiant spirit, they unfurled a flag boldly declaring, "Come and take it." Yet this confrontation would ignite a sequence of fierce clashes and landmark battles, including the infamous Battle of the Alamo and the brutal Goliad massacre, each shaping the contours of Texian resolve and identity. Now, the revolution's beginnings are traceable to the Gonzalez encounter, but it was the Battle of San Jacinto on the 21st of April 1836, under Houston's command, that marked a definitive turn. His forces executed a swift surprise attack against General Santa Anna's troops, securing Texian independence in a mere 18 minutes. Following this monumental triumph, Sam Houston was inaugurated as the first president of the nascent Republic of Texas. His term, however, was immediately beset by daunting challenges. Houston had to craft a stable government, manage a ballooning public debt, and seek international recognition, all while ensuring peace domestically amidst threats from Native American tribes and persistent tensions with Mexico, which still had not acknowledged Texian independence. During these turbulent times, some entrepreneurial brothers, Augustus Chapman and John Kirby Harris, purchased a substantial tract of land in southeastern Texas from Elizabeth E. Parrott, widow of John Austin, for a modest sum. Just days after their purchase, they advertised the founding of a new city in the Telegraph and Texas Register, naming the city in honor of Sam Houston himself, whose leadership would soon usher Texas towards joining the United States in 1845, as he viewed this union as crucial for Texas's security and prosperity. But the annexation, a direct result of Texian victories and Houston's diplomatic efforts, heightened tensions between the United States and Mexico, culminating in the Mexican-American War. And Houston's private life offered a stark contrast to his tumultuous public career. Married to Margaret Lee, who bore him 8 children, his home life provided a respite from the political storms. Yet, as the nation moved inexorably towards civil war, Houston's political life was anything but stable. In a twist of historical irony, Sam Houston, the once fervent advocate for Texan independence and a formidable political figure, found himself at the epicenter of the secession crisis in 1860. As governor of Texas, he navigated a political landscape riddled with pressures from all sides, including calls for him to throw his hat into the presidential ring. Despite his supporters' enthusiasm, Houston remained on the gubernatorial stage and did not endorse any candidate after withdrawing from the presidential fray. But when Abraham Lincoln clinched the presidency in November 1860, the tectonic plates of American politics shifted dramatically. Southern states began to secede, forming the Confederate States of America, with a Texas political convention following suit on the 1st of February 1861, declaring Texas once again an independent republic. Yet, Houston, ever the statesman, refused to acknowledge the convention's authority to tie Texas to the Confederacy, much to the chagrin of secession enthusiasts, and his refusal to swear an oath of loyalty to the Confederacy to lead his removal from office, declared by the Texas legislature. Undeterred and sticking to his principles, Houston declined assistance from the federal government to maintain his position, and his April 1861 proclamation to a gathered crowd about the dangers of the coming Civil War was prescient, warning of the immense sacrifices required for Southern independence and expressing skepticism about its feasibility. However, Houston's steadfastness in avoiding conflict and war was noted by historians as a deep-seated loyalty to Texas first and foremost. His position remained firm even after his departure from office, as he returned to Galveston, later settling in Huntsville. And despite his political isolation during the Civil War, he continued to engage with key figures like Confederate officer Ashbel Smith and Texas Governor Francis Lubbock. As Houston's health declined in 1863, culminating in his death on July 26 at the age of 70, his legacy as a figure who strived for unity and peace in tumultuous times was cemented. And yet, his children would soon take up the mantle of the family legacy in surprising ways that now seemed far removed from the swashbuckling president, governor, and frontiersman that Sam Houston was. For example, his son Temple Lee Houston, born amidst political upheaval in 1860 in Austin, would lead a life in the legal profession as dramatic as his father's was in the political realm. Orphaned young, he was raised by his sister in Georgetown, Texas. Temple's adventurous spirit saw him working on cattle drives and steamboats before pursuing formal education at Baylor University. where he excelled in law and philosophy. His legal career was marked by flamboyance and a knack for swaying juries, most notably in the defense of Minnie Stacy in 1899. This case, dubbed the Soiled Dove Plea, became a legendary courtroom battle, considered by many trial attorneys to be the perfect closing argument, where Houston's eloquence and advocacy for the marginalized shone brightly, leading to Stacy's acquittal in, reportedly, 10 minutes of deliberation. Temple's career also included a stint as a state senator, further underscoring his influence and commitment to justice. Thus, his legacy in the legal realm remains impactful, reflecting a blend of theatrical delivery and substantial legal acumen. And daughter and son, Margaret Bell Houston and Sam Houston Jr., also navigated lives shaped by their heritage. Margaret, born in 1877, became a notable writer and a fervent advocate for women's suffrage, leveraging her literary talent to advance social causes. And Sam Jr., despite personal trials, including a stint as a Confederate soldier and a subsequent career in medicine and writing, contributed to the family's storied history in his own right. Together, these descendants of Sam Houston exemplify a family's enduring impact on Texas and American history, each carving out a path influenced by their legendary forebear. In the next chapter, we'll explore the living descendants of the family and see who's still knocking about with the last name Houston in good old Texas. Sam Houston IV, a direct descendant and the great-grandson of the legendary Texan figure Sam Houston, was a stalwart champion of Texas history, embracing his lineage with a zest that resonated through his every endeavor. And living descendant Stephen Houston, his son, noted that his father's passion was singularly focused on the rich tapestry of Texas's past. Texas history wasn't just an interest, it was his world, Stephen has said, and Houston IV was known as a family man balancing his profound historical interests with a warm paternal presence. Throughout his life, Houston IV played pivotal roles in commemorating Texan heritage, extending his leadership to presiding over the Sons of the Republic of Texas. Sam Houston IV, and thus the overall Houston legacy, is carried on by the younger living generation, including children Vicki Allen, Stephen, and Kevin Houston, and numerous grandchildren and great-grandchildren, all of whom inherit a storied past deeply rooted in the heart of Texas. And now, we'd like to see you in the comments. Are you a native of Houston or somewhere else in Texas? And what is your opinion on the Houston family legacy? Every video we post, we try to weave your personal story into our community discussion, so don't be afraid to share your thoughts below. Thanks again for joining us, and cheers until next time.